I really hope that was the first thing that people heard if they go back to this video.
Same.
Live stream.
I mean, you can guess if the person has STDs by the price they are.
Classic.
I was hanging out with Drew in voice chat yesterday as I was playing Gran Turismo, and he's playing, you know, the Call of Duty stuff. And all of a sudden, he breaks out into this story where he's like, where he made his dick bleed, and he told that story like 4 times on stream. I'm like, good God, you're so proud of making your dick hurt.
Where he made his dick bleed. I mean, I know how to do that. I did that.
There's a few different ways you can do that, but.
I went to the doctor to see if there was anything wrong. They're like, we don't see anything. And I'm like, good.
Yeah, that's the idea, right?
I mean, yeah. And then it's never happened again. And I'm like, whew.
Good.
I'm terrified, but to the moment one day I'll just wake up and there's just blood in my
Oh, dude. That's like the scary thing, though. When you look that up, people who have had that, and they're just... So I went to the toilet, right? And I took a piss, and for some reason, it felt very... it felt very warm, but like unnatural. So I looked down, and the toilet was just filled with blood, and I'm like, oh, God. Oh, God.
What would be more scary, you pissing blood or it comes out blue?
Blood.
I mean, blood. If it comes out blue, then my immediate reaction would be, what the fuck did I eat or drink yesterday?
Yeah, but what if you like didn't eat anything out of the normal? It just came out blue one day.
Well, then I'd also ask, what the fuck is in my food?
Like,
what kind of food coloring is this?
Yeah, who's spiking my drinks?
When it's blood, it's kind of just like, well, there's a couple things that is possible. There's absolutely nothing wrong with me, or I have cancer.
Or I have...
Yep.
I think... Yeah, I think every choice is bad.
I know.
Well, there's a couple choices to why I paid blood, and none of them.
I know what boys like.
Do you?
I know what guys want.
I'm sure you do.
Guys want.
Actually, no, you don't. I know you don't.
Guys want. I was watching a YouTube stream yesterday, and that was like the joke of the stream.
That he was gay?
Sure.
That is not a joke.
We'll go with that.
That is not a joke. This is a serious... Oh, wow. It's a red recording. I cannot say those kind of things.
That's a serious mental condition. Wait, are we live? Nah.
It's a joke. It's a joke. It's joke. It's a joke. Okay? It's joke. It's been 2 weeks since the last time I talked to you, and apparently every single one of us hit ourselves in the head a couple of times. We're slightly more retarded than before.
Yep.
It happens. It happens.
I know JD is sick, so I'll cut him some slack.
Yeah, I've been pretty messed up on cough medicine all week. Cough and cold medicine.
There's just no excuse for me. We just slightly more retarded.
Listen, I don't think no matter what we say at this point, nothing is going to top the fucking Nazi sympathizer stuff, so it doesn't matter.
Nazi sympathizers? I mean, it's either that or support Saudi Arabia these days. You know, just pick a poison.
We can top that easily. We can top that easily. I will not do that because now I'm a lawyer. I preserve my image. But that is...
You need to preserve your image of the hentai master, yes.
No, I'm not. How dare you? I'm the hentai encyclopedia. I'm the weeb master.
Computer, define hentai.
I mean, it's porn.
Go. How we know?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Well, I was that fucking definition disappointed me.
That was quite disappointing.
Outside of Japan.
Right? Yeah.
Outside of Japan. Like, okay, yeah. So what do they consider it in Japan?
I mean,
arts.
Just like that one cut it off The Office joke with the hentai. That video is amazing.
Computer, so, like, what do boys like?
Locally. Oscar.
The boys?
Yes.
So that's what boys like.
What do boys like? Well, clearly you're talking about this place in Nebraska.
I mean, that is what boys like.
That's
Nebraska.
What boys like Nebraska.
Boys only think about one thing: Nebraska.
All right, shall we do this thing?
Aren't we already?
All right.
Alrighty.
All right, counting down. You guys ready? You got the Audacity going? The stuff.
I haven't started recording, but I have it open.
Okay, counting down. 3, 2, 1, go. Welcome, welcome, welcome! It's episode 35, Worldwide Weebs, the anime edition. I'm your host, JD, getting over a massive cold. I'll get through this, but luckily, I have two amazing hosts to back my sick ass up. I'm joined here with Tori. How you doing?
I'm doing fine.
And I'm also joined here with the man who's going to vote for the best president of his country, Hickey.
Hello.
All right. How's the elections going, Hickey? I watched the Last Week Tonight video, so clearly I am well versed in your politics now.
Yes, of course. A bunch of fake news, a bunch of corruption, and people getting stabbed, and communists guys faking being from the right wing party and drawing swastikas on stuff. It's great. Brazilian politics is great. It's the best series you can get. Forget Netflix, forget anime. Just get a history book and study Brazilian politics. They are just amazing.
And the reason why we bring that up in particular is because if you hear any like crazy noise coming from one of us, that's because Hickey, you guys are having like campaign elections this weekend.
Yeah.
So, fun episode. Halloween's right around the corner, so we're talking horror anime. Some of our favorites, some notable ones, maybe ones that we've wanted to watch for a while. Maybe we even get into some horror video games. Who knows?
No, we don't.
We got an interesting topic before that Tori kind of brought to light. He's been on a movie quest. Been watching some old movies. I'm looking forward to the banter and information that will come with it. And the reason why we're all here is the suspense tragic OVA series called Area 88. That is the retro anime we're reviewing. It's a short one, and thank God, because I'm probably gonna go straight back to bed once this is over.
Weak.
Well, I gotta keep the energy up. So what have you guys been up to lately in the anime world, anime verse?
Oh, same as always. New season started, already behind, so great job me. And other than that, I've just been starting my movie quest like JD just said, and I also made my seasonal video, and it was only a week late. That's fantastic. So yeah, hopefully JD will link that in the notes.
Absolutely. Just like I did last time. I was very successful in that.
You sure were. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been up to.
Nicky, how about yourself?
Well, I'm also behind, but because I'll be I'll be participating in a public tender tomorrow, so I'm focused on studying. It's a very difficult test exam, so I'm focusing on that. So yeah, I'm a little behind. I'm one episode behind on everything. I didn't limited myself, but Tori said I should limited myself to 20 anime.
Jesus Christ!
I'm only watching 20 anime. I'm watching actually 19 because I dropped one. Horrible.
Oh, what was the show you dropped already?
Hitomote House. The poster shows you a bunch of really well drawn characters, but it's actually very horrible. Very bad.
That perfect. That sounds no bueno.
Yeah, it was just no. It's just a big no. Just a big 30-minute no, and yeah, nah. I don't need to do that to myself.
Well, both you and Tori are pretty high up on one anime in particular.
Sure.
From the season.
Zombieland Saga. It's just amazing.
I love
refreshing, I would say, because it's been so long since we had something refreshing.
Yep.
And so far so good. So far so good.
Yeah, this is what I love. Whenever there's a new season, when I go to any chart, like be it any chart or whatever of what's going to come out, what I always do is I just kind of immediately scroll to the bottom because I sort everything by popularity, and then I go to the bottom and then I see what's there. This season, I was so lucky to spot that there was a Mappa show at the bottom of the popularity one on any chart, and I'm like, Zombieland Saga. I'll check it out. There was no information about it. Went in totally blind. And for those that haven't seen it, I'm not going to ruin anything. I'm not going to say anything. But then you go into that first episode, and it's just like, yeah, this show's awesome.
Well, it's currently ranked number 7 in popularity on my anime list.
And it was ranked second to last. It's gone up a bit. Yep.
Sword Art Online, and then you have a Fairy Tail. You got
Fairy Tail.
Goblin Slayer is number 2.
Oh, Goblin Slayer, yeah. That one's sparking some debate that we're not going to get into because I'm sick of it.
Index 3rd season as well.
But Fairy Tail is back, and that makes me happy because now I have my own show to watch.
I haven't started Radiant yet. I'm waiting for a few episodes to go through, but it's not getting. I mean, I already see that it has a 6.66 on Anime Illustrated.
It seems very like unoriginal, and apparently Radiant will have Kisuna I will voice a character in Radiant, virtual YouTuber. So,
oh boy.
I'm watching it. I watched 2 episodes. And it's quite normal.
Bad.
No, it's normal shonen.
Bad. Okay, got it.
nothing out of the ordinary, but I would just say it's
bad.
Like the same. It's not blatantly copying everything like Black Clover and My Hero Academia, the middle of the manga. But it's there. It has the shonen genetics. So.
Alright, so bad. Got it.
Fair enough. Who knows? I might end up enjoying it as in my sickly, brain dead state. Oh God, my throat needs clearing all the time. Oh, so forgive me, audience. Really got to get through.
Point out something. Every time, from the beginning of the podcast, you are the only one who got sick. Alex got sick recording because I know Tony got sick and it was bad. He was just out of combat for like 2 weeks or something.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but that's again. I've never missed a podcast ever, and I'm proud of myself on that. I never will.
Well, excuse me.
No, you haven't either. I didn't say you didn't.
I skipped a bunch of podcasts because I have to study to be alive.
Oh yeah, but that's fine. That's fine. I just don't want to miss anything.
Yeah, when we record, JD is usually sick.
Usually.
What do you mean usually? You act like it's normalcy.
Well, it's once every 2 months.
Yeah, that seems okay. That seems pretty normal. Yeah.
It happened multiple times, at least.
It has happened multiple times. Yes. Tori, you showed me a picture from Golden Kamui that is kind of gross.
Oh, I hate your Golden Kamui so much. Fuck, that show is bad. I don't even care anymore. Like, I mean, for anybody that watched the first season, you'll know that show loves food. And it sure loves... And I was like, I'm going to drop this if it does this in the second season as well. And well, there's been 2 episodes, at least that I've seen, so far. And it does the exact same thing. It still loves food. Very much. And just to kind of really fucking put that into perspective, it shows you this really nice fucking... I say really nice, it's not really. But basically, this fucking, like, copy of the picture, like The Last Supper.
Good God.
Of them just sitting there when they're going to get lunch. And I'm like... Oh no! Fucking
That's so
I understand that it's a joke, and if you'll know why it's a joke. If you study the picture, you'll understand. Not only is it a joke on the food, but it's a joke because there's some rather out of place things in that picture.
Right.
But I'm not going to spoil it for those that don't know.
Fine. So. That's disappointing to hear, because even though I had my reservations about the first season, I was hoping, like yourself, that they would kind of lay off on all the food all the time.
So. Yeah, they're not going to do that.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be the case. One show I am enjoying is Karakuri's Circus.
That's not Zombieland Saga.
It is not Zombieland Saga. It's puppet battles.
Ew.
It's shonen puppet battles. It's so far it's pretty good. It has my attention. That's what matters right now. It has a lot of Ushio Hora vibes, that's for sure. It's made by the same guy, so I hope it does.
Including the VAs as well.
Mm-hmm. And Hickey, you said it ramps up as it goes on, pretty intensely.
Yeah, when I left off, there was a huge battle and some stuff happened. Spoil it. I won't spoil it. Oh yeah, for sure, it's gonna ramp up a little bit. Just like Ushio and Kura. The same vibe. And the same way of dealing with tension.
Yeah, the main character has a really strange disease. I'm not really getting him quite yet.
And SAP Tor.
Yeah, well. The main female is like an anime female tsundere type character, so whatever.
No way. Never.
No way, right? So I'm like, I kind of wish there was more. But I am liking the little kid.
Oh no, JD.
Well, no. He acts like a little kid. He's not what's the phrase?
He's not a detective.
It's not anime.
Right, he's not like Detective Conan levels of OP kind of shit, or he's not like a natural, or not yet anyways. He's not being thrown into puppet battles, and he just has this natural aptitude for being the best kind of deal. He's this kid who thinks like anything that goes wrong around him is ultimately his fault. He doesn't want to drag these people into his problem, but he's a kid, so he goes seeks out help to the only place a 6 or 8 year old, however old he is, knows, and that's just what his family has said. It's just like, go to this circus, go there. Hey, I'm 8,
is that you?
So I'm gonna go.
Go to the circus, yes.
Yeah. I do like this cool little opening scene in the anime where a train just explodes and gets off the rails and goes through a circus tent, and I was like, well, that was coincidental that it goes off the track and straight in there, but it was a cool little scene, so I'm enjoying the show. That's the point.
Not as crazy as Zombieland Saga first scene.
Well.
And I'm waiting the spin on SSSS Gridman.
Yeah.
It's trigger. It's gonna happen. It's gonna end with a battle in space. For sure.
Very well.
Because it's trigger.
Nah, man. Little Witch Academia did not end with a true battle in space.
That's true. And that's why it's a better show.
That is, yeah. Okay. This is the exception. That the rule.
No, they did that on the live stream as well, and people were commenting the same thing. And Yo-Yo Shinai just immediately went, no. Little Witch Academia did not end in space. And then they had a long argument. Is it space? They were up in the sky. Is it space? It's not technically out of the atmosphere. Therefore, it's not in space.
Oh, yeah. They were it's like, it's still in the industry.
Oh, I love
it. Yeah, but like, it is basically Trigger's Ultraman. It's his spin on Ultraman. Even the appearance of Gridman and the attacks, even the way of saying it, the gesture, Gridman, Bing, it's just Ultraman. It's just. And
I just wish he would
explain. Be something I need to look into then.
I just wish Gridman would explain what the fucking mission is already, because I'm kind of sick of hearing you have a mission only you can do. And like, I have. I should totally do that. Someone ask him, please. What is this mission?
Every episode, they ask him.
No, they do, but then it's like guys. You said you should.
Colonel Co-op is on the bad side now for some reason.
No, but like in the last episode, they were like, why won't he still won't tell me? Why won't you tell me? And it's like, do you really want to know what your mission is? And they're like, yes. It's like, wait, so it's something only you can do. Wait, it's something only I can do. Yes, I will do what only I can do. It's like, okay, you just think he told you nothing. He said nothing.
Yes.
All right. So, yes, welcome to the Red Leaf Retrocast Anime Edition. Let's get back on. Tori.
Yes.
I'm gonna play a sick drop, and you can get into your movie quest. What do you say?
Sure.
All right. Okay, Tori.
All right. So, if for those of you that listen for a while, you might have known that for a while I had my own little anime quest in which I went back to the 70s and started watching anime series and movies. I didn't really specify what I would watch. I would just watch something from every year and up until the present. So I decided to do that again. I've had it planned for a while, but this time with movies. I'm going to do something a little bit different, though. And first off, because of lack of availability, I don't go to every year. And I might watch multiple movies from a year if I feel like it. And stuff like that, yeah. But I'm also not going to talk about every single movie that I watch. Because, I don't know, I just don't feel like it. So instead, I'm just going to highlight a couple of movies. I watched, let's see here, 5, 6, 7. I watched 7 movies, right? No one wants to hear me talk about 7 movies.
Man on a mission. That's what you are.
Yep. And but the movies that I will highlight, I'm actually going to highlight 2. And the first one is Lupin the Third. And yes, because I had to watch a Lupin the Third movie. And this one was Lupin versus Fukusei Ningen, or The Secret of Momo, as it's called in English.
Was that the first Lupin movie?
I think it is. It's based on Lupin Third Part 2. Yeah, I think it is. If you don't consider technically, there's a pilot movie for season 1, which came up before the season. But,
that no count.
It's like 16 minutes long, anyways. So let's see here. The synopsis, according to Mal, is Lupin, the master thief / spy / jack of all trades, has been executed, but he is still alive, and not even Lupin himself knows how that is possible. While trying to figure out, however, he and his gang are thrust into a conspiracy involving clones, Lupin's untrustworthy rival Fujiko, and a miniature madman's plot to take over the world. Actually, it's just the miniature madman's god complex, but yes.
Yeah, the short little blue guy, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mamo. And this... I really like that they decided to put in, say, in the synopsis, conspiracy, because this movie definitely feels like a conspiracy theory. There's so much. There's a guy, like Mamo, he has a god complex. He has declared himself God. He basically says he's been alive for 10,000 years. He has seen the creation of man. He's seen everything. All the tides, like the turns and tides of war and of creation of everything. He was the reason behind it. He created it. He helped humanity, and now he's on a quest to ruin everything. Because he's immortal, and he's tricking Fujiko into stealing from Lupin because they will both be rewarded with immortality. But, you know, then Lupin obviously pokes holes in his theory and really is like, immortality isn't a thing. It's not real. Come on. And, yeah, it unravels that. And there's just a whole bunch of crazy stuff going on. A superpower, like a world power, a rich man who basically has power to even put the United States at its knees and fucking...
Hell yeah.
Just destroy everything. Nowhere is safe.
Probably for the best.
He can create earthquakes and... just all kinds of shit. It is interesting, and it's hilarious. And like I said, I kind of like... I missed old anime, and going back to this reminded me why I even missed old Lupin. Because, you know, there's nothing like Lupin just walking around, seeing all these, like, weird paintings, historic paintings and whatnot, going through fucking historic grounds, running into guys like, oh, excuse me, can you tell me where I am? Turns around, it's fucking Napoleon on his horse. Like, what? And then he walks further and he sees another guy. He's like, can you, and then this guy turns around and he immediately goes, Heil Hitler, because there's Hitler.
Sure.
Lupin was crazy back in the day. Yep. Lupin was very weird back in the day.
Well, this whole movie was weird.
It sure was.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I like about Lupin, though. Like, it's not at all serious. It's a very, very silly movie. And
I think that's an understatement for a particular one.
No, it is absolutely bonkers. But it's a fun ride, and it's more of the original Lupin. It's essentially what you... I'm not going to say essentially what you come for, but it is...
It's what you come for if you were a fan of Part 2 more than Part 1, I would say.
Part 1 changed, because, you know, the guy who made it, he left, or got fired. But, like, this one is, again, more in the style of the manga, because the manga is very crazy. And, you know, it really reminds me of how much Lupin has been toned down, especially when I see Lupin go after women, and he is literally borderline a fucking sex offender. Like, I'm gonna fucking... He's like, I'm gonna have sex with you. No, you're not. No, you don't say no to me.
I'm fucking Lupin. God damn it. It's different times, that's for sure.
Very different times.
Well, it's like the anime City Hunter, where the dude is basically a borderline rapist at times, and like half the characters in the show just take it as a joke. Like, well, the 80s were different.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same thing here, because usually it ends up with Lupin being passed out. Usually they get some sort of drug in him or something. So, right. You know, he never actually rapes anyone. It's just very uncomfortably close.
Very uncomfortably close. The things that stood out to me throughout a lot of the different Lupin movies, especially this one, because I had seen different Lupin movies prior. So, like, because there's so many... this one, just the art style and the amount of craziness really separates itself from a lot of them, and I wasn't totally into it comparatively.
I was into it. Tower
of Babylon was another like real wacky one that I didn't really enjoy. But at the end of the day, like even the worst Lupin movie is still enjoyable.
Yep,
I would say
that's the power of Lupin.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically, if you ever want to check out a Lupin movie, I wouldn't necessarily tell you to start here, but they're fun. They are fun. Yeah, I wouldn't
say this would be a movie I'd start out with either.
No, I mean, you never would. Okay, but that's Lupin. And the other movie that I would like to point out, just because I wasn't only going to talk about Lupin originally, but right before this podcast, or a couple days before, I watched this movie as well, and I kind of wanted to talk about it. And it's a movie called Jarinko Chie, also known as, let's see here, Chie the Brat.
How do you spell that, sir?
Chie the Brat?
Yeah.
Right forward?
Chia, how do you spell that?
Chie. Yep, Chie the Brat. Jarinko Chie, the synopsis, well, I'm just going to read the synopsis of Maligan. Jerinko Chie is a movie directed by Isao Takahata in 1981, based on the very popular manga by Etsumi Haruki.
Oh.
It is about a 10-year-old Chie, the most unfortunate girl in Japan, that's what she calls herself anyways, who manages her family diner while her unemployed Yakuza father, not exactly Yakuza, but, and her mother are separated. This sounds really depressing, but it's actually a very funny comedy. And yeah, that's kind of the thing. Again, remember what we said about different times. Unfortunate family should be drama. Nope, comedy. And the story is set in Osaka, which has a totally different culture from Tokyo. There it is. After the success of blah, 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 blah. Okay. So.
Well, just based on the synopsis I'm reading here from Anime Planet, it already seems like the theme is no matter how your life may be in tough times, always try to look at things with a smile, kind of deal.
Kinda. It definitely does focus on more on like being lighthearted, comedic, and the kind of the silly hijinks and the slapstick comedy that comes from it. Because ultimately, she is the daughter of not a Yakuza father, but he does get involved with the Yakuza a lot, and he is a very rough guy, and he beats people up, and doesn't really keep jobs. Nobody wants him, nobody likes him, and, you know, her mother, she left, and she couldn't stand it anymore, so she decided to leave, although she does still meet her mother every once in a while, and her mother does kind of want to get back and kind of restart that family because, as you can imagine, it's not very easy. She also gets kind of bullied in school, especially by two people because they're very smart and she's incredibly stupid. But obviously, the joke or the idea there is like they make fun of her because she isn't very school smart because she doesn't do her homework and she can't do math. But you know, in reality, she is more street smart and more survival smart because she works. She knows how to take care of herself. Because she has to. She doesn't have parents that take care of her. But she doesn't. So she's not school smart, but she has to be street smart because, nobody can take care of her. And essentially just deals with that. You got a stray cat that comes in, and when the Yakuza gets involved, the Yakuza leader dude, he has a cat with him, a cat that can kill a bull.
Ooh.
Just to prove how strong it is and to have some fun, he sees this
steroids?
Cat. Yep, he sees this other cat, and he's like, "Ha! I'm gonna show off my awesome power." He drops his cat in and be, "Go and kill that cat." Obviously, the other cat comes back.
I was about to ask, knowing the 70s and 80s, that's exactly what would happen. It's like, all right, you have a cat. This is a sad anime, sort of, kinda. Let's murder it.
Yep. And then, of course, there's the Yakuza guy's cat that comes back out, and it's completely beaten up. And worst of all, the other cat in there, he took one of his balls. And this results in the cat dying and it results in the Yakuza guy, the Yakuza boss quitting the Yakuza and going down straight and narrow. Like, it's a comedy. A very, very strange comedy. And one of those things where you're definitely gonna question some stuff, like when the mother comes back and it seems like the family's never going to work because the dad is still all kinds of messed up and doesn't like anyone. But there's this old friend of his, or I say friend, there's this old, I think it's a teacher, or was a teacher, from when he was in, primary school, who is very, very, very violent with him. His father, or the father, is afraid of this man, and
how is it animation-wise? That's what I'm really curious about, because that's what you watched Hinotori.
I sure did.
And that's a weird one. Because it's a Tezuka work, which, you know, they usually have a lot of different issues resolving around it. But this is Takahata, and it looks like it kind of takes place in that same kind of realm of the 60s art style going into the 80s.
Yep. Ultimately, that is what it is. In terms of how it looks, obviously, you do have the kind of weird character designs that doesn't really, like, it doesn't look like anything else, or at least not that I've seen, that came out in this time. It's got a bit of a unique flair to it, and that's nice. it's obviously more of a it is a comedy, and that means that a lot of animation is more. It's not as extreme. Like it's not very. It's not poorly animated by any means, but it isn't like super detailed either. But obviously, that also has to do with the art style. It doesn't need to. There's more comedic. Like they're more sporadic. There is more like quick movements when somebody gets beaten or something. But ultimately, like the show doesn't look bad, or the movie doesn't look bad, but it is.
How much child abuse are we talking in this show?
Child abuse. You'd have to describe. What do you mean child abuse?
Like how much does this kid get hit by adults?
This kid gets hit by adults approximately never.
Okay, cool. All right, I was actually half expecting like the mob dude or other people to like slap this kid around, make fun of her upbringing kind of deal, because that's definitely something of the time. Like stuff like Devilman comes to mind.
No, I know. That doesn't happen here.
There was a lot of bitch slapping of children.
It doesn't happen here. It kind of the opposite happens actually. Chie usually beats her dad. It's kind of funny because she makes Yakuza friends because she makes friends in the Yakuza because her dad is obviously very scared and he goes to beat up some Yakuza dudes, and then she's like, "You're overdoing it. Stop!" And he's like, "You can make me." So she takes a chair and fucking smashes it over his head. So they're like, "We're forever grateful for you. You saved us." So there's a lot of that.
This sounds like something we need to visit.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
I wouldn't mind doing a couple movies like this, where you talk about these movies on a quest, and then we can cover these on a future episode.
Yeah.
Hickey, would you be down for that?
Yeah, sure.
Obviously, I'm just giving you basics.
Especially with someone like Takahata. This sounds like something that would be definitely interesting to tackle.
Oh yeah, it for sure is. Like again, the reason why I want you to specify child abuse is because she does technically suffer from child abuse, or at least neglect. But
from the father, correct?
From the father, her mother is kind of the
because the fucking mother left her.
Yeah, so. She only sees her like once a month, and she doesn't really help her in any way. And she wants to kind of reconcile with the dad and get the back together, but she is very, very non-confrontational, so she doesn't really want to talk to him at all about anything. I mean, understandable. This dude is kind of a lost cause, and that is definitely one thing I can see people having a different problem with, because by the end, they're together again as a happy family, quote-unquote. The dad is still insufferable and really, really doesn't want to be a family at all, but his old teacher kind of forces him to. Like, you don't get a say in this. You're the man. Deal with it.
Right, that's very interesting. Okay. I'm definitely interested in this movie. Sure.
Oh yeah.
It's a comedy. These guys are just why not?
I enjoyed it at the very least. It was something different.
Yeah, it sure sounds like it.
Yep. So yeah, those are the movies that I watched, or two of them. I watched, like you said, I watched a bunch of others as well, but I don't see a point in getting into those. They were children's movies and
sure
things like that.
No, yeah, when I was doing when I was going through my quest in the 70s, I definitely wish I saw more movies, because when I did watch a movie, they definitely stood out more in terms of either a quality drop or different take on what they wanted to do, through different techniques and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really have much to compare to. So a few of the movies I'd like to revisit, like Mamo would definitely be something to revisit now that I've seen even more Lupin movies. You know,
yeah.
Hinotori is another one that, you know, we were talking about that before the podcast a couple days ago. That's something I've wanted to rewatch, because now I have something really to compare it to with other Tezuka works. And so on and so on. So this is cool. I'm definitely looking forward to more movies.
Just remember one thing, JD.
Sure.
Never touch married women or garbage.
Oh well, yeah, fan subs. Yeah, the fan subs of certain anime and movies back in the day are whew. That's something you might have to look past.
Sure is. But I still like that. Never touch married women or garbage. That is a life lesson, Jaden, ladies and gentlemen.
It's always a life lesson.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I don't have much else to add. Do you, Hickey?
No, not really. I don't watch old stuff. Although I'm in a fucking retro and
I don't watch old anime. God,
old shit. You kidding me?
I don't really go out of my way to watch them. I was interested in the what was it? The Little Mermaid one?
Oh yeah, Anderson Doa. Yes. Yeah,
it was very different apparently from the Disney version.
Well, yeah, because
well, the Little Mermaid itself is like a horribly written story.
Yeah, but the Little Mermaid is, it's typical Disney. It's like, well, we need another Disney princess, and we need to, make a happy tale that inspires people, which is kind of funny because fast forward to now, and people have very big issues with Little Mermaid, not just because it's a bad story, but because it portrays horrible fucking treatment of women or whatever the fuck. But yeah, no, the Japanese Little Mermaid is basically
your voice inflection when you said that.
I know, I'm good at that. But like the Japanese version of the Little Mermaid is just essentially it's based on the actual story by Anderson. Jesus Christ, I can't remember his name.
I think it's like
the guy that made it.
I think it's like Jan Frederick Anderson. I think that's right.
Something like that, yeah. And he
was he was a notoriously horribly like convoluted and like a writer who would put so much needless detail into his stories that people would fall asleep.
Yep, and yet for some reason the Danish still love this tale and talk about it to this day. But yeah, no, it's not as happy. It's not as happy as the Disney one is. It's more grim, and
that's probably better.
I liked it more.
Yeah. I imagine it would be better. I watched the Cinderella adaptation, anime adaptation. I couldn't even get through like 3 episodes. It looked like something out of the 70s, and it was terrible. And it came out in the 90s. Yeah, it's yeah. You as soon as you throw it on, you go, oh, woof.
I like that the Little Mermaid. Like I was just like, Jesus Christ, how many animals will they kill in this fucking movie? And I don't even mean it's not just look, beat a fucking wolf. No, they fucking stab him and shoot arrows at them. And
good God, hell yeah! This sounds intense.
There's blood and shit. Not a lot, but there's blood, and I'm like, dude, this is a children's movie.
Thor is just sitting there scared, going, "Where's the musical part? I don't like this.
Look at this stuff. Isn't this neat? Wouldn't you say my animal corpse collection's complete?"
And then you have the fucking storms created by the witch, and it's just like fucking giant fucking like water tornadoes up in the sky, and I love those scenes. They look really good.
Cool. Well, why don't we move on to a topic that is very seasonal. You guys ready?
Talking about animal corpses.
Talking about animal corpses, let's talk about some horror anime.
Go Speed Racer, go Speed Racer, go Speed Racer, go!
Alrighty. On notes. So, 'tis the season, isn't it, guys?
Yeah.
Halloween is around the corner, the harvest holiday, which means it's spooky month. And
we'll celebrate Halloween here, so
we don't celebrate Halloween.
Well, they celebrate it in Germany when I was living there. They celebrated in Canada, and they celebrate here in America, and a lot of our audience comes from Canada, America, and Sweden, apparently. So
they don't celebrate it in Sweden, I can tell you that.
So if you're from Sweden and you're listening, I hope you want to celebrate Halloween this year.
Travel to Germany and I mean, if I would travel to Germany in October, I would go to Oktoberfest.
Yep.
You can Halloween as well.
Agreed.
Well, it's Oktoberfest and you get to dress up as spooky stuff.
Yeah, you get to put on lederhosen. That's scary.
Well,
oh, that is terrifying. No, I mean, come on, Tori, you have no idea. I've seen some things.
Katie, isn't every party in Germany there? It's an Oktoberfest, but with a different theme overall. So we have Oktoberfest, but you use red and sing Christmas songs. Then you have some other Oktoberfest in the New Year's and just a bunch of Oktoberfest around the year. At least that's how.
We open presents. Oh, look, it's more alcohol.
So I wrote down some horror, suspenseful, psychological anime because horror. I don't want to say horror like they do in like Texas and Florida and the South. I like saying horror. That's how my parents say it. So that's how I grew up saying it. No, my brother says horror.
I wrote a bunch of your movies.
So Japanese horror anime is quite interesting. It's focused around kind of like making you feel more uncomfortable or having
more psychological.
Yeah, it's a lot more psychological, having a lot of weird themes. Junji Ito is definitely kind of one of those creators that would you guys say he's one of the best like horror spooky manga creators out there, especially with his details?
Well,
as I go tackle my cat because he's causing a lot of trouble.
I mean, horror, say Edogawa Rampo.
Yeah, I mean, well, he was kind of mystery and then evolved into fucking Eroguro, which is interesting.
Yeah, that is true, especially with like the human worm thing, where the woman would just basically rape the soldier with all the limbs.
Yeah, that's very uncomfortable. I kind of agree. Like when it comes to manga, I think you can't really pass by Junji Ito. Like he is, at least now, he is kind of like one of the de facto faces of horror manga, and he makes some interesting stuff. Very much like body horror and kind of like the fear of the inevitable. It's like a lot of his manga kind of has this famous something very fucked up is going to happen to your body or somebody's body in this one, and the scary thing comes obviously from seeing this person's body change into something unrecognizable, and the kind of the scary part of you knowing that something horrible is happening to you, and yet at the same time there is nothing you can do.
You barely understand what. Yeah, Japanese horror, it's quite different.
Yeah,
Western horror, and a lot of people say bad. But it's just different. It's more grotesque. They go for the grotesque. Even the ones that kind of similar to Western, they even go to a more grotesque than a jump scare. Just like The Ring with Sachiko, the original Japanese.
Yeah, Ring.
And what you see in series like Higurashi and some others. It's not
Corpse Party.
Scary.
Corpse Party, good God.
But Corpse Party has some scary moments, especially if you're playing the game.
Yeah.
An original PSP, because the audio gets bugged, and every character who's outside the actual screen, the voice comes normal, but the characters who are in the screen, the voice comes at volume 10. So you need to press into 100%, and suddenly someone just screams in the background, and your ears bleed. Of course, you get scared because of the fucking game.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing, right? Because when it comes to Corpse Party, a lot of people really don't like Corpse Party, but that is also usually always directed at the anime or the OVA,
right?
Because obviously, as you can expect, the OVA is really only about one thing, and that is, look, we're horribly killing these characters that you don't care about.
So I've got 6 psychological horror anime that I quite enjoy, and they're all kind of different. And then I wrote down 4 that I haven't seen that I might like to check them out. And this also works. This theme also works because the Red Leaf Retrocast is actually doing a horror themed episode coming up, and we're playing a lot of Japanese horror games as well. It kind of goes hand in hand. So
Fatal Frame.
Jamie, one. If you play Fatal Frame, one you are allowed to use one, and you know which one is. So I won't say anything about Fatal Frame. Shitty game.
Well, Fatal Frame 2 is quite good, and it's very scary. My brother couldn't last longer than an hour playing it.
I know, but it also has the DLC with the only clothing you are allowed to use.
Well, you're referring to the later iterations where it gets scantily clad.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the second.
Well, I know with a lot of Japanese horror games, especially when they're centered around like, be it like junior high or high school girls, you unlock clothing once you go through the game once, and you can go through the game a second time. Yeah, you get the idea. So, back on topic.
it goes from horror to comedy quite quick.
Yeah.
Horror to porn.
Horror to porn. Horror to really. But yeah, no. Usually it's quite grotesque. I don't watch horror anime because, frankly, I think they are bad. Not because Japanese horror is bad, but usually the horror adaptation of anime is not very good.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things, right? Japan can do some pretty decent horror, but for some reason in anime, they don't seem to find anything that works.
I don't know whether they just pick bad sources or because they know it doesn't sell well, they think they need to do something different.
I don't know. Corpse Party was very much beloved, so I don't understand why they decided to butcher that one. But whatever.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Corpse Party. Yeah, Corpse Party, the game. The other ones who actually released on the Steam 2 days ago, aside from Book of Shadows, which is a little bit scary. The other ones, Blood Drive, Dead Patient, and one comedy spin-off because. But they are
always the comedy
right
spin-off,
so you can go and play if you want. Book of Shadows because it's a dungeon crawler type of game, and they kind of explain a little bit of subtle hints of the first game. So you need to play the first game to play Book of Shadows with the spin-off. A lot of things just jumps in your face screaming, and that is quite a scary thing.
It's jump scares. I got it.
Yeah. But it's a better horror game. Like the Book of Shadows and Corpse Party 1 are good horror games. Corpse Party Blood Drive, JD played, and he said it wasn't that good, right?
No.
I remember you told me about it.
Yeah, I tried one of the Corpse Parties because I was interested in it, and I was like, this one's not good.
Everyone knows that the best horror game is the original Pokemon, especially Lavender Town.
Well, I mean,
do you remember those old creepy Pokemon, like creepypasta games?
Yep.
Pokemon.
Yep.
Dude, that shit was the scariest.
Oh, Tangela?
No, dude, there was a bunch. There was like Pokemon Gray and stuff like that. You just go online and download those games. Some of them
that's a community I was never part of.
Some of them were actually modded Pokemon games. So like you go online, I was like, I am a pirate. I'm just gonna download this Fire Red version of the game, and then it was actually a modded one to be a creepypasta, and people start dying, and then the characters start talking to you as the player, and you're like 9 years old, you start freaking out. Yeah, no. Anyway, back to the topic. Enough with my traumas. back to the topic.
So,
but usually Japanese horror is turn to the grotesque, turn to an idea of do not stray from your path. Because if you do that, something will get you. It's something you don't want. You don't want that thing going to get you. That goes a lot with the folklore, Japanese folklore. Mm-hmm. Most of the yokai, most of the demons, they live in forests, and they're just there calling you or looking at you, making you uncomfortable, so you can stray from your path, and they can, kill you or eat you. So usually it's very grotesque and has that feeling, just like Tori was saying, that you don't know what's going on or being chased. It's inevitable. You cannot change the outcome, those kind of things. So it's very grotesque. It's not about scaring you. It's making you uncomfortable with the character's choices.
Yeah, I kind of like that though. But I mean, it kind of reinforce like what Hick is saying as well. You have just Japanese folklore in general, like the story about one of the things that are told to elementary school kids is you are not never go in at school into school and go to the bathroom stalls and go to the last bathroom stall at the end of the room and knock on it 3 times. Never do that, because if you do that, you will get a voice from the inside will call you and ask you to open the door. And if you open the door, you will be swallowed whole by a ghost or a yokai in there.
Yeah, I know that because I mentioned that a lot of times. In Brazil, we had a bunch of Japanese immigrating too, and we have those stories as well. When I was in school, in middle school, we had that story. Don't go to the last stall alone. Don't knock in the door of the last stall or else. But here was different, because if you did that, the voice would call you, but it didn't matter, because it was two. The stalls would be in both sides of the wall, and there would be a corridor. So if you didn't answer, something would grab you from behind. It was scary as fuck. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I remember reading a story.
Those kind of stories as well.
Yeah, I remember reading a story about which is this kind of, again, it reinforces that it's mostly tales of what not to do. That was for kids should not walk alone outside after dark. Because if you do, and a woman will call out to you and ask you to help her. She will be carrying a baby. She will ask you to help her. She is lost.
What?
And she is lost, and she needs to feed her baby. She doesn't know what to do. So, and you have 2 choices. You either help her or you go away. But it doesn't matter, because ultimately she will come after you, and it will turn out that the baby is not real, and this woman will have a distorted face, and she is looking for kids to eat and steal their body parts and make a baby out of it.
Ah.
Yeah.
So basically, it's don't be out at night.
Yeah, listening and reading a lot of Japanese horror stories and Asian horror stories as a whole taught me that I am traumatized of Japanese night, especially in desert places. If I go to Japan, I won't go out. Especially because one of the horror mangas we'll talk about is about that, and no, I won't go outside at night. It's just too terrifying. There's some very terrifying stories out there. It's usually about what not to do. Even in Higurashi is a story about what not to do. Don't go out of the village. Don't go out of your path. And people start to go crazy because of something that is going on in the village. And since you are inside of the village already, there's nothing you can do about it. It's inevitable.
Going back to that bathroom stall story, I never had it. I never had that growing up.
You never?
So that's
haven't you had one of those there was I know there was a myth that went around, the one where it's if you clap and if at midnight you look yourself in the mirror and then you clap 3 times and spin around a couple times left and right, then fucking and shout out Bloody Mary, then fucking The ghost of a dead girl will appear in your mirror. You never had anything like that?
Well, not to that extent.
Well, it doesn't have to be exactly like that, but that's just one example.
No, the only, like, I heard stories from my grandparents, but they were all old Brothers Grimm type stories. It's funny you bring up the bathroom stall because it made me think of, like, my elementary school. And most of the bathrooms, either the stalls didn't have doors or there was only one stall in the bathroom.
You know, here's one story though. Like, this happened to me when I was a kid. I was at home with a friend, and it was on a kind of like dark, stormy day. It wasn't night, but it was day, but it was dark outside because of clouds and shit. And I remember we were doing we got the idea that we should do a lot of those fucking weird, like, don't do this, otherwise a ghost will appear. So we tried the Bloody Mary thing, we tried a bunch of stuff, and nothing happened. Like, we expected it not to happen. But the storm was kind of blowing up, and it was just like, this is fucking weird. It seems like something is happening. And then as we were doing one of the last things, I don't remember exactly what it was, my phone rings. I'm just like, that's creepy. And I go to answer the phone. I remember I'm like 9 years old at this point. I go to answer my phone. I answer the phone, and I go, like, who is this? And all I get is somebody breathing on the other end.
Yes.
No, he didn't say anything. He just breathed. I'm like, hello? And then he hangs up. And I just like put the phone down. I look at my friend. And I'm like, somebody just called and didn't say a word. He just some heavy breathing, and then he hung up. I remember me and my friend, we were just fucking sitting. We were just sitting, watching that storm fucking pick up like crazy. The windows started shaking, and we started freaking out. There was no one home.
Yeah.
Just me and my friend. Like, we were literally having a panic attack. That a couple hours later, my mother got home, and she's like, "Why are you so scared?" Like, you don't understand.
No reason. No, we're men here.
You don't understand.
No, we're just sweating because we were working out. 9 years old, work out all the time, right?
Yeah. No, that was creepy. Because we were like, oh, we expected nothing to happen, but then a fucking phone call. I still, to this day, have no idea who that was. I assume it's somebody who called to check if people were home, because that's like a common burglar thing here, was like they call people and see if there's anybody home, and if nobody answers the phone, then they break in. I assume that's what happened. But that shit scared me.
That's also creepy. But,
well, it is, but it's not a ghost.
Also, other thing, some stuff, they don't translate well to anime. A story like that wouldn't translate well to anime. Like someone calling, and there's just heavy breathing and hang up. And you have that drama, but like sometimes suspense in anime is so forced. It needs to be built well. But most of the time, especially because how we got used to everything being in anime, we know what's gonna happen, so. And they usually don't do a good job at hiding or changing some stuff, misplacing some information or showing something to you so it can grab your attention, and then they suddenly, a story like that with something, they usually are very straightforward, especially because they don't have time to spend with that. So the suspense sometimes is just like, here, suspense, someone called, and they will crack a joke.
And then, of course, in anime, it's kind of common that they raise death flags all the time. So it's like, somebody's going to die. You know about that for episodes in advance.
Yeah. After you meet every single character, you know who's going to die. And it's quite there.
All right, let's get to our little list here. Or at least I have one made. So one of my favorite kind of psychological horror animes is Monster.
Yes.
About serial killers and people getting murdered, and it's incredibly psychological. It does make you uncomfortable at times, and it's one of the best anime I've ever seen. On top of it, if you haven't seen it, definitely recommend.
It's like the thing that I remember from Monster the best. I'm sorry to cut you off, but like the thing that I remember was like going back to like when I first got into anime, and I still agree to this. It's like the thing that makes Monster scary is, well, first of all, like the bad guy, you know who that bad guy is for quite a long time. One of the things that make him very interesting, Johan Liebert, is that he is like one of the scariest dudes you'd never meet. Because he is, for the like it's a 70 plus episode show. He does not appear a whole lot in that show at all. But just the idea that this guy is out there.
So, you know, that's a very good point. What makes a good villain, and how do you make him scary? You hype him up at first, and then you have the anticipation and the suspense of not being able to see him, but the presence is always there.
Yep. It's like I said, he's an incredibly well-developed character despite not screen time.
Yeah, and that's what makes a good, just spooky film, spooky TV show, is always that. And as soon as you ruin or get over that suspense and you see it, that's when that aspect of horror and tension just goes down dramatically to get out of there, get away from him.
Yep.
So,
yeah, he's pretty much. It's like Silence of the Lambs.
Yes.
Monster reminds me a lot of that, because you know who the bad guy is, and he's there. He's terrifying. Just looking at him, terrifying. Just like looking at Hannibal, he doesn't need you to hide anything.
Yeah, he doesn't need to do anything. He just speaks, and you're just like, oh God. Well, speaking of suspense going down, another show I have written down is, and Hickey, I think you've seen this one, Shiki.
Hey, Shiki.
Now, I'm not saying that the whole thing is good. I really liked the first half because it had a lot of that suspense and unknown, and then it kind of goes into a B movie-esque type thing. For sure.
I'd say it was always that, but okay.
Just want to say that Shiki is not a horror. It's a romance, apparently.
Yeah.
So...
It can be a romantic horror.
But it's not scary.
It's about vampires.
Yeah. So is Twilight.
That's Halloween.
So
Yeah, Twilight. Tori, you make a compelling argument actually with that. So, Hickey, what do you think about Shiki? Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Do you recommend it to people who just want to have a good spooky time?
No.
Do you want to see people get slaughtered? Like everyone? Yeah. In that case, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Knock yourself out. If you want a good story, no.
I actually quite like the OVA of Shiki the most. That was really good. It was I think it was like a 2-episode thing of the vampires being hunted from their perspective. That was cool. Like seeing the dark side of humans and their panic.
Panic.
Yeah. All right. Well, then, Tori, you've definitely... Well, maybe you've seen it.
Definitely, well, maybe.
Yeah, well. It's a little psychological kind of yandere thing. It's called Future Diary.
Ah, yes.
Ooh.
Future Diary. Why do you consider this horror?
Because there's not a lot of examples of Japanese horror, and
I know, but like,
I'm trying to bring you guys into it as well. Come on.
I would have preferred Happy Sugar Life, and I say that I gave
That's true. Happy Sugar Life, technically, it's a horror.
More horror than Mirai Nikki, at least.
Yeah, it's,
I don't know. There's people like in a game and hunting each other.
Yeah, there are. It's like a battle royale.
What is the most dangerous game? Man.
What is next? High School of the Dead?
That's on me. I haven't seen list.
What is next? High School DxD?
Not DxD, but High School of the Dead's on my I need to watch list.
Yeah,
High School DxD is about demons.
It is about demons and zombies and whatnot. Yeah.
DxD.
High School of the Dead, it still is the best zombie anime out there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I mean, there's nothing really we can do about it. Technically, it qualifies to the fucking list.
It does technically qualify. Technically.
That's good.
So I put a little gore action with the Halloween theme, and I'm a big fan of this particular one, Hellsing Ultimate, the OVA series.
Yes, the OVA series of Hellsing. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
but again, it is one of those. It is one of those like it's not really scary as much as it's just kind of over the top gore.
It's still a lot of fun. Yeah. It's about a vampire kicking ass. Yeah.
I didn't say it wasn't fun. I just say it's not scary. Well, but you are going to get to see a guy who's like fucking, like, I think one of my favorite parts is that dude who sneaks into the fucking tomb where Alucard is waiting. He's just like, I have your powers, but better. I will kill you. And then fucking Alucard's just like, yes, entertain me, boy. It's like it's great. Like, it's a lot of fun. But again, it's not scary. But the fights are great, and the gore and just slaughter is just okay. Listen, I sound like a serial killer, but yes.
The fights, the gore, oh yes.
And the Nazis. Nazi vampires. Yeah. Nazi zombie vampires.
The Nazis. The Bridget series is great as well.
I do like the voice acting in the series, especially the guy who voices Alucard in both languages, English and Japanese.
Alucard, wow.
Alucard.
Alucard.
I can't quite say that right now because of my current sickness, so forgive me, Tori. I'm sorry. Apologize.
Fine. I assume you watched the dub as well.
I've watched both.
Okay, cool. I've only watched the dub.
You've only watched the dub.
Yep.
What?
I know, right? I don't know. I've only watched Hellsing once. I first watched Hellsing, and I watched Hellsing Ultimate after, and I watched Hellsing Ultimate dub for some reason. That was fine. I don't mind the dub. It's okay.
Okay, so next one I have is Parasite. More of towards the sticking with that kind of action-oriented horror themes.
You know what? I think that my favorite part of that show is the opening. I got the na little wee. It's a weird show.
Icky, have you seen Parasite?
Yeah.
What'd you think of it?
It's not that scary.
Well, I'm not saying it has to be.
It has the concept of for a great horror movie or a horror series. That's for sure.
But then it becomes action.
Controlling dead bodies and trying to overthrow humans in the society. It's like terrifying. Because that might be happening outside and we don't know. You know, it's those kind of very, very terrifying concepts. Just like Monster. But the author decided to go with a more action-packed.
Right, yeah. It's like an action version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. How I took it. Okay. Well, just moving right along. Probably one of the better ones, and also scary at the same time. At least I was scared in sections of it. I'm not saying the whole thing was scary. Higurashi no Naku Koroni, or When They Cry.
See, Higurashi is one of those things where I think it's way more uncomfortable than scary. That's just because, that
definitely fits Japanese horror.
I know. But it is because of, just the torture methods that are used, like the fucking nail ripping.
Oh, yeah, the fingernail device.
You see that, and it's just like, you feel your hand. It's like, oh, no. God, that is horrible.
Or little girls get chopped to bits by big swords and shit.
Guy almost swallows needles.
At the beginning, like the first season of Higurashi, I thought it was more horror. I can give it that, especially with like when what's the name of the girl, the main girl?
Rika.
Rika.
Rika, yeah, Rika. Rika? Isn't Rika the shrine maiden?
Yeah, isn't that the main girl?
Well, yeah, but Or
No,
which
I'm
one?
talking about the girl.
Rena?
Yes, Rena.
Yeah.
When she gives the main character food, and he just eats it, and there's needles inside.
Yeah.
He looks at the window, and she's just there in the rain, saying, "I am sorry," like repeating, "I am sorry" alone. That was terrifying. That was horrible. That was a nice one. Later, there's a scene, like there's a scene with Sinon and Shion, where the main character is on the hospital, and suddenly a hand comes out of the fucking under the bed and just grabs him. That shit was scary as fuck. I wasn't expecting that kind of. Of course, then they butchered with a very death after that, but that is fine. But there's instances where it's quite scary.
I agree.
I can give Higurashi that.
Yeah, I really like Higurashi.
The ones you quoted, I think Higurashi has some very terrifying.
Yeah, it gets a lot of shit for like the weird faces, but I think it does that pretty well. Like, I understand why people are put off by like the giant eyes and the fucking over psychosis and the faces, but like it kind of nails the point home, and I don't mind it.
Yeah,
they are twisted, all of them. Anyways, it's like they look psychotic. Well, they are.
They're supposed to be. Yeah. I'm just gonna list off a few things here. Attack on Titan goes without saying. It's just kind of gore porn. The blood stuff. I've heard Hellgirl is pretty good.
I got so sick of seeing the same scene in Hellgirl over and over and over and over and over. Every episode.
The last 4 episodes of every season, they are excellent. They are top notch. But every season has like 26 episodes. Oh. So like the story doesn't advance until the 4.
Yep.
And they are excellent. With people dying and jump scares and suicide and people with forks just killing people randomly inside of a doll. It's that the level.
And before that, it's about this girl from hell who travels to the earth to get somebody and take them with her to hell. In the exact same fashion every single time.
I think one of my favorite
revenge story, and usually it is about revenge stories. That's the premise of the anime.
I love the ones where they were just like, no, I want this guy to hell. I'm gonna fucking order Hellgirl to take him. Then, surprise, surprise, Hellgirl takes them instead. Ha! Who would have thought?
Before I forget, Perfect Blue for psychological horror for sure. Something we've covered on the Satoshi Kung podcast episode. And Memories, the first part of the 3-part series.
Oh, right, that one. Yes.
Yeah, the one where they go to the abandoned space station. It's super creepy. People are like losing their fucking mind and getting killed. Pretty cool stuff. So besides Hellgirl, Umineko is on that list. Tori, you've seen this, correct?
I have seen Umineko.
Hilarious, funny, scary. What is it? What kind of horror? What kind of horror are we looking at? So bad it's so good, like Devil May Cry.
I mean, I would definitely say it's so bad it's good. Yeah, sure, I can go with that. I enjoyed it, but it is not at all scary. It's like, you know, the moment you're introduced to the main character, you're probably gonna laugh because like, Atashi wa Battlerada. His name is Battler.
Oh boy,
it's quite interesting. It's basically about it's about this like horror mystery, like horror locked room mystery, where the main character Battler is fucking fighting the Golden Witch and this like Ace Attorney style like fucking objection, because he has to prove like she kills people in the mansion from this party, and it's always a locked room mystery. And obviously she's a witch, so she's like, I can use magic. And he's like, I don't believe you can, which makes no sense because technically he's dead and he is now locked away in some fucking thing floating in the sky or whatever. So he doesn't believe that she can use magic. But she's like, well, I keep killing them, and she's like, well, I'll let you all live. I'll reset time and let you all live, with kind of very dumb reasoning because he expects her to do that, even though he doesn't believe she can use magic. But she promised she will reset time and let them all live if she can prove that all her murders are done without using magic. And they're all locked-room murder mysteries, like where there's no possible solution except for using magic. And does he ever succeed in proving that she does not use magic? No, he does not. And the reason for that is quite simple. She's a witch. She uses magic.
Witch.
It's kind of dumb because it's like you're fighting a losing battle from the very beginning. And but that's kind of the point. That's kind of the point at the end is like we're playing a game that will go on for eternity because he can't win.
So the last one here before I have a question for Hickey is one that caught my eye. It's a series and it's shorts. It's called Yamashibai Japanese Ghost Stories.
Yeah.
There's like
I think it's the third season though. It wasn't.
There's multiple, that's for sure. And they're about 5-minute episodes. So good Japanese stories, and they're ghost stories. So that's definitely on my list. I'll probably watch a whole season closer to Halloween. So might have to get back to it. So Hickey, question.
Talking about ghost stories. There's ghost stories as well.
There's ghost stories.
Yeah, I suppose that counts.
It's a little scary.
I suppose that counts.
I was a kid when I watched ghost stories dubbed in Portuguese, and it's just amazing.
Is the Portuguese what made it scary?
No. I mean, it is something about Portuguese dub, at least Brazilian dub, is when people try to convey strong emotions, they are very good at that. So when a fucking demon goes out of the fucking body and starts running to get little kids screaming that he will kill them, it's quite terrifying. I can testify.
Fair enough.
You should totally watch ghost stories dubbed in English. Very scary stuff.
It'll keep you up at night, wondering what could have been. So Hickey, you like reading manga, correct?
Mangoes.
Yes.
Or the manga.
I mean, I've read a book, and now I don't have the time, and
you've dabbled.
Yeah.
Do you have any horror mangas you'd like to recommend to the audience?
So there is one I always recommend when I talk about Japanese horror, which is Ibitsu. Oh boy.
Ibitsu why does that sound familiar? Oh, you recommended that to me.
Yeah.
You sure did.
Have you read it?
I have not. I've been looking for it.
That thing is way too scary and way too uncomfortable to watch. It's basically it tells the story of this urban legend where when you go outside and you're walking at night, you might see a gothic Lolita all dressed in white, but very dirty, laying together with the trash bag. And as you pass by, she'll ask you if you want a little. Now, the guy in the manga said, I already have a little sister, which I have a little sister. But the gothic Lolita understood that he was calling her little sister. And then she started to kind of follow this guy. And she's like this very weird thing. She eats trash. She wants the guy to eat trash, and like it smells bad. And she starts stalking him. It's very uncomfortable. It's very scary as well. Sometimes she will appear with body part. Basically, all she wants is to kidnap the guy and make him a perfect big brother. Even killing everyone around him to get him for herself. And yeah, there's some very messed up and very scary parts in that guy, and I was terrified.
Well, definitely a recommendation.
There's also, let's see, Satsujin, which is a romance and horror story about a serial killer, a guy who wants to kill himself, and a shemale that makes human body cheering.
Excuse you?
Shemale,
Yeah.
Tori.
Shemale.
Excuse you?
I heard people are into that.
Excuse you?
She makes those, yeah, and she's also a exhibitionist, so the shemale is always the reason that. And she makes like furniture with human parts. It is horror. I would say it's horror. There's Maho Shoujo of the end. The same from the same creator of Maho Shoujo side, which is technically a horror. Don't go by the anime, okay? The anime was not good, but the first part of the manga of Maho Shoujo side is quite horrifying. I would put as a good horror manga. There's a bunch of them. There's usually involves either a Mirai Nikki like of game, just like King's Game, like excellent.
Please.
That 10 out of 10 anime that came out a few seasons ago.
Please.
You have a bunch of variations of King Game. Usually people getting teleported to another dimension just to be killed by a bunch of psychopaths or survive. There's a bunch of horror mangas. There's a bunch of good horror mangas.
Just read anything by Junji Ito.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, the Junji Ito, there's a collection, Junji Ito collection.
Yep.
Not to be confused with the anime. You can buy the collection of short stories. Some of them are quite terrifying.
And ignore the anime. The anime doesn't exist.
Ignore the anime because
oh, come on, it's not that bad.
No, it is. Don't even. It really is.
I did even.
Junji Ito is a fun guy. He likes to write horror and moe manga about cat. So there's no in between.
Well, I mean, it makes sense because he is inspired by the quote unquote godfather of horror manga, and that guy was a comedy writer who occasionally dabbled in in horror.
In horror, yeah.
It kind of makes sense. So yeah, there's a lot. Like I said, there's a lot of good horror manga. I would like to recommend a horror anime. Talk about it. It makes me sad. And that horror anime is called Mononoke. And it's not to be confused by Princess Mononoke, because it's not the same. It's a 12-episode series created by Toei in 2007. And it's like a spin-off of Ayakashi Japanese classic horror, of more specifically the Bakeneko arc in that series, or manga. And yeah, it follows a guy simply known as the Medicine Seller. And it kind of takes this mystery approach as well to classic Japanese horror, in which you follow this medicine seller as he encounters a lot of supernatural phenomena, and he has to he is tasked with getting rid of whatever it is, usually, which ends up with him killing the ghost or the yokai, and but in order to do so, he first needs to kind of figure out who this is. Let's use the actual. He needs to learn before he can kill. He needs to learn its form, its truth, and its reason. So basically, he needs to know what it is, why they're here, and why they're what's happened to them. That's essentially what needs to happen before he can use his weapon to kill them. So it's really good at creating suspense and kind of this horrifying atmosphere, because there's very little gore, almost none actually, and there is no jump scares. It is just creepy, and I love that. I really enjoyed Mononoke.
Yeah, I enjoyed it myself as well. I've come to appreciate it more as time has gone on, for sure. I would definitely recommend that as well.
Hmm.
Well, I don't have much else to add for any horror anime myself. Do you guys?
No. Don't watch horror anime.
Alrighty. Well, I'm gonna play the Helsing drop.
Well,
it only seems.
That.
Oh, go on, Hickey.
Before you say that, just want to say that Body is very bad, a bad salesperson, and he will apparently have a video on that. So that's basically what this podcast has become. Tori has an idea of a video, and we just steal it and use it. So in the next couple of days, there might be a new video coming out.
Maybe in the next week.
Cool, man. All right. I'm gonna play the Helsing drop. Seems appropriate for today, and we'll get on to our retro anime review of Area 80.
Now, it's time we start dealing with the business at hand.
Oh, Area 88. Tori, was this your suggestion?
It sure as hell wasn't. It was Hickey's.
Hickey, your suggestion.
Mine, yeah. Because I like military.
This is actually pretty cool because the Retro Gaming podcast, we did an anime themed gaming episode, and Tori was the gracious host of that one. We actually played the game that was based on Area 88. It turned out to be pretty good.
Well, wasn't it UN Squadron or something?
Well, it was renamed UN Squadron. Yeah.
Totally different game. Not at all related to Area 88.
No, it was like only the name was changed. That was it.
I know.
Yeah.
Licensing and shit like that.
So you like military stuff, Hickey? Go on.
Yeah, I like military stuff. So Area 88 is something. Although I don't like planes that much, still has a bunch of cool planes. They have a fine selection of planes. Sure. That was the story of a Japanese guy called Shin Kazama, or Kazama Shin, which got dragged by a foreign legion to fight a war in some forgotten European country. Apparently Eastern European Europe. He was tricked by his friend because his friend wanted to take over a airline company.
He also wanted to bang his girlfriend too.
Yep. You know what? I can appreciate it. I totally do this. I totally list my best friend in a foreign military just to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god, you guys are horrible.
Now Kazama Shin, he needs to survive fighting for 3 years, pay $1.5 million in a penalty, or desert. But if he desert, he will be killed. So he started his career as a fighter pilot. He didn't desert anything.
No, he came back.
Once. There's another Japanese dude who tried to desert. Like he got 1 day. And at the same day he got in the military, he tried to leave. He got fired. Anyway, part of the plot. And now he needs to survive fighting. But the Foreign Legion doesn't give them any equipment. They actually need to buy the planes and buy the equipment themselves. Buy the bullets and buy the missiles, buy the bombs, and go out in the most difficult and suicide missions that is basically... No one?
Oh, I guess you cut out.
Anyone? No, okay, but I finished the synopsis.
Yeah, it's definitely a story I was dragged into pretty quick, actually. How it definitely gets you sympathetic on the side of Kazuma immediately, being that his childhood friend betrayed him, signed him up basically to die, get murdered, so he can bang his girlfriend and take over basically the business that he was gonna take over himself, that Cosmo was gonna have. He just goes to this random foreign legion. He's thrown into a situation that, you know, nobody would volunteer. Well, I wouldn't say nobody, but
there were quite a few people.
There was quite a few people actually.
Everyone who was there voluntarily fought in them.
apart from Cosmo, yeah. So he didn't want to be there.
Fought in some African conflict in the 60s or.
Yeah, there was an old Vietnam vet. There was mostly just mercenary guys looking for money and just, you know, a place to belong, I guess, is how I took it. And how everything's introduced to Cosmo's situation, like you said, Hickey, where they have to, like, he finds out didn't he like destroy his first plane like right away? Or no. He was making a lot of money, then he destroys the plane by accident.
Yeah, a journalist goes there and, you know, start taking pictures of everyone to make a news about what was going on in the country. And one of the first he sees it's an airplane crashing. But the guy survives and everyone makes a joke. So then you go to Kazama saying that is normal and blah blah, and you go into the room and being all depressed. He was to die. He destroyed one plane. I think it was an F-8 Crusader. As he only needed $20,000 to leave the place. But then he ran out of bullets and got strafed and shot down. But he survived and had to buy a new plane, which cost him like $500,000.
Yeah, it was like almost all the money all over again. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like all the characters involved. And how they're all introduced, and how much Cosmo essentially becomes kind of friends with them. He slowly starts to accept where he is and his situation. And I also really like the character development of Cosmo. The series, because it's only a 3-episode OVA series based on a 23 volume manga, a lot of stuff is just kind of, the pace is way fast. Almost to a fault. A lot of the times. So I really liked Cosmo the character. I really did. I liked his development throughout the series. What did you guys think?
Well, I liked most of the characters. Not only Cosmo. I liked Mikey, which is the Vietnam pilot.
Sure.
Where he says he doesn't have a place to belong anymore. He tried to live a peaceful life, but once the stench of gunpowder impregnates your soul, there's no way back. Like he says,
impregnates your soul.
There were some good lines like that in the show for sure.
Fuck off, Tony. And even the leader of the squad, Saki, he was a very interesting man as well. The characters behind the douchebag Kanzaki friend, you have the old man who sell them equipment, everyone, the journalist who, you know, died because he wanted to see how it was like, and he died. The missions are very interesting, although
boy, is that timely.
Even the missions, how they use the mission to develop the character, and how Kazama went from I only kill what is necessary because I want to leave this place, to being used to it, being called the ace pilot of the place, and forgetting everything and only finding pleasure at shooting the other pilots. It's a very interesting.
It's a transition.
It's a heavy transition. Like it's pretty crazy how he's disgusted at himself at a lot of the points in the series, especially when he comes to the realization that he's basically like looking at himself in the mirror, more or less. He just goes, "This is who I am now. period. And he doesn't like that part of himself. It's very realistic. I like how a lot of the characters have their kind of anime moments of the 80s, because this did come out in 1985 after all. However, I thought the show, or the OVA, did a great job of keeping this in a realistic sense for all the characters, especially Cosmo.
I thought, for me, I think mostly I enjoyed the dogfighting. I like especially the animation
stuff
of it.
It's really cool. Yeah,
there's a lot of attention to detail there, and I really appreciate that. However, the parts outside of that, I really didn't care for. I didn't particularly enjoy any of those moments.
What do you mean? Well, like animation-wise or character-wise?
No, like story-wise, character-wise. I didn't care for anyone. I didn't particularly like any of them. I thought they were very... I don't know. They felt very one-dimensional to me. I just didn't care for anyone.
Yeah, I was when I was researching the Area 88 manga. Obviously, there's a lot of the side character backstories, which makes sense, and it develops them. Obviously, with a 3-episode OVA, each episode was like an hour. There's not going to be any time to do that, and that's where the series definitely falls, and I can definitely see it from your perspective, Tori. But I mean, that would be a shame. That's a shame. It's a shame.
I mean, even the same thing. It's like the guy, one of his friends there. It's like he got a bit of backstory there, but it was like, what's his backstory? Well, you see, like, what was he? He was American and fucking something like he broke up with his girlfriend, and then he just decided, well, fuck it, I'm gonna spend the rest of my life in the military. It's like, really?
Yeah, and specifically this kind of military.
Yeah, it's like that. I don't follow your logic. Even if you are a military guy, like, I don't... Okay. It seems like it's not the end of the fucking world. Chill.
Clearly you've never suffered a broken heart.
You know what? You're right.
Well, he went to Vietnam and got traumatized. Went home and everything was peaceful. He had a girlfriend. He couldn't take the peace. Said, you know what? I was born to war. I'm gonna die in a war. And he decided to become a mercenary because he wanted to.
And then he meets his girlfriend, and he's like, "Yo, the fuck."
Yo, girl, what's up? You betrayed me.
That was quite random. Like he's in the fucking capital city of a country in war, and then his girlfriend is just making tourism.
I love it though. It's like this is a very popular spot for couples. A battle zone.
Yeah, stuff like that was kind of like what? Yeah, that's the anime moments I was kind of hinting at. You do get that, just coincidental type stuff. That's just for the sake of being there. I think I'm not. If that's in the manga, and audience, if you're listening, definitely hit me up if moments like that are also in the manga, because then that would definitely hurt a viewpoint for sure.
With the story, it gets kind of in the geopolitics of the 80s a little bit, especially with African conflicts, where you have the imperial house or the royal house, the president, and you have this group trying to overtake and make a coup d'etat. And then you have the two big players. I think there's Area 88. It's a little early. It's not 85, the ending of the 80s. It was early, like 79 to 84. I think usually when people talk about the time period and the USSR.
Oh, sure.
You can see that in anime. Although they are a foreign legion and they need to buy the equipment, most of the jets are American and British. And the enemies, they have MiG. They have MiG jets.
Americans selling arms to foreign nations? No way.
They don't do that.
The people who want to make the coup d'etat, they use a bunch of different types of MiG, which is the USSR jet. You see MiG-21s, MiG-23s in the anime, and like 50 shades of MiG, because there's a shitload of MiGs. They don't change the name. So you can see like those geopolitics going into place when the Swiss is a neutral country, just like always. They flee to French at some point, but they cannot say anything because if the USSR or the allies of the USSR discover that the royal family of the country fled to France, it would spark a war and things like that. Very cold war.
And then Kazuma kills the bunch of people in the fucking street and gets away with it.
Yeah. Yo, Secret Service guys, they do the best job at hiding.
Sure. Yeah.
They got a lot of those geopolitics. Right. I don't think they should send A4 Skyhawks to the desert because they are naval planes. But that's fine. They just buy, and I guess if you buy a naval plane to fly in the desert, it's probably cheaper. I don't know. Yeah. Aside of those kind of things, they got the geopolitics right, and it's very interesting. The biggest problem really is how it's end, because it doesn't end, it concludes. And you don't know what happens before. Basically, the bad guys are kind of succeeding. Kanzaki succeeded on overtaking the company and are filling the market with shitty planes, and it ends up with an accident. A fucking plane crashed and a bunch of people were killed. And the group wants to make the coup d'etat succeeding, and Area 88 is about to be destroyed. The government is about to be overtaken when it finishes. And it finishes with Kazuma trying to get back to Area 88. Done. And you don't know what happens next. And I think that's the huge negative part.
So I'm glad you brought up the ending, because the initial reaction I had was very negative with Area 88. Because the whole purpose is him making enough money to escape and get back to his woman. Get back to his life.
And then he finally meets her, and he's like, "Whoa, no!"
And as he's heading there, that's kind of that looking yourself in the mirror moment. He has this self-realization that, and he's so disgusted with himself. He goes, "I can't go back to that life. That's not who I am anymore. I'm a killer. All I know is to kill." And just like, kind of like most of the guys he befriended in the military there, how that's all they knew, and that's why they were there. He became one of them, and he turned around and just, that's my life now. And he continued. So when I thought about it more and kind of rested on it, I go, you know what? I really like the ending, personally.
No. Well, his motivation to go back, yeah, the problem is not that. Is we reach the peak of the tension, and when you reach the peak is when you have the transition to the conclusion, to the end. The problem is you have that, what is it? Plot point. The name is plot point. It glues the middle part to the ending. It's usually a plot twist or a plot turn. It calls the plot point. It's the thing that will start the beginning of the end. The same way you have the introduction, and then you have the plot point, start the middle part, and then at the end of the middle part, where the tension is so high, you need something to burst the bubble. It's another plot point to go to the end. We have that plot point where he finds the girl, and the girl's like, "Please come back. I love you, and we need to be together." And he goes, "I am sorry. I don't have time to fuck you."
Yeah, I wish they could have came like at least eye to eye for sure.
Not only that, I was just fucking pissed off at the fact that he was like, he gets help because you have to break through to fucking get it. The other people at Area 88, they help him fucking get back there, and then when he gets there, actually, I've changed my mind. It's just, people died for you.
Well, yeah, and like that's the plot point. It's him going back to Area 88 while everyone who is Area 88 is leaving.
Well,
Saki is clear. It's like, go break the line of offense of the enemy and fly towards your country as fast as you can, as far as you can, because Area 88 will not exist anymore. Kazama doesn't know that. So you have an interesting conflict.
Right.
Rising, you saw like the beginning of the end is very, and that's the end of episode 2. And then you go at active 3, as it called, the episode 3 of the OEAs, thinking you see the ending.
Right.
And Active 3 is just a compilation of Active 1 and Active. So you don't have an end. The bad guys basically won, and Kazama is going back to Area 88 probably to die.
The bad. Well, I mean, his friend was the bad guy. Truthfully,
Kanzaki won the company. Had a accident with one of the planes, but he's still the president.
No. He went to jail.
No, he went to. As it goes out, he's going to a temple.
No, he didn't. I swear he got
No.
He got arrested at the end. Did he not?
Nope.
No, Kazama got to the jail because he killed a few guys in Paris. But the president of the company, Kanzaki, he didn't go to jail. He went to a temple where the families of people who died in the plane crash were mourning the dead. And he goes there, like, no, this is something I need to face myself. And he goes, but he's still the president of a fucking huge company. And the bad guys who used MiGs and Kazama was fighting it against succeeded in overtaking the government of Arslan. So the bad guys win, and Kazama is going to a place who is about to get conquest by the enemy, and there will be no one there except enemies, and he'll probably die.
No, yeah, it says Kanzaki was arrested. That was his final fate.
I only saw him inside the. Okay, so he got arrested. Cool.
Yeah, he had his comeuppance. That was the.
Oh, great! But still, the Arslan is fucked, so it doesn't really matter.
Right? Yeah. In the end, he did get what he wanted. I thought in the beginning and middle parts when Kanzaki does discover that Kazuma's still alive, because he sent him there to die essentially. He hires his own mercenaries to go murder Kazuma. I was like, whoa, some friend he is. I mean, I thought the signing up for the military was bad enough. Now he wants to like actually murder him. Why didn't he just do that in the first place?
He didn't have the power at first.
Right. The power and the money.
Make it with his style.
But you know what? You guys are right. I will agree with you there. Where, if it showed, Kazuma going back to Area 88 and him seeing, after all that those guys went through just to get him on the path to escape that he was, and just to see everything destroyed, and everyone dying, because he doesn't know that. That would have been an even better ending for sure.
But here we fucking are.
Yeah.
But here we fucking are.
But I do still like the motivation. That was very important to me.
Oh, yeah. Motivation. Although it was kind of just like every anime, we knew it was going to happen, especially because you have Mikey there, and Mikey has the same backstory.
Well, sure, yeah.
It doesn't take all the credits of how good Kazama transformation. Also the good dog fights animation.
Yeah,
overall
Tori
animation
brought
music.
Tori brought that up earlier with the dog fights and the animation during that. Oh my god, just breathtaking at times. I really loved it.
The music was awesome.
The music was good, yeah. No, I just love, like, it's one of the things that I oftentimes miss. Like, I get why it's time consuming, but like one of the things I miss are the pointless details. And fucking Area 88 has so many pointless details, whether it be on the planes themselves, when they're in the dogfight, when they're shooting, the fucking casings popping out everywhere. going. The fact that there was literally points where people get fucking like wrath and whatnot, just general like broken parts and stuff like on their plane, and it fucking affects them and shit like that. It's like that's normally shit that's not part of any. That would normally not be in a series, but it is here, and that's nice. I like that.
Yeah, showing the strafed plane trying to land and like hitting the ground and disintegrating.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is, yeah.
Like it's pointless details, but it makes it better.
No, and you definitely notice it. I mean, I think the dogfighting is at least in my opinion, it's the best part of this entire show.
It's even better than in the game.
It's even better in the game because you get to play it.
No, I said it's even better than in the game.
Oh yeah, well,
kind of like, in a game, you can run into buildings and you die.
You sure can.
No, actually, you don't die. You just take damage.
In the game, you're not Kazama. You're just a guy.
I do want to add that the director, Hisayuki Toriumi, he was the Tekkaman and Gatchaman guy as well. So it's.
No wonder I don't like him.
Oh no wonder I don't like. Well, I mean, it's interesting when you see directors go from, in this case, like a superhero thing of the 70s to something like this in the mid 80s. I found it interesting when you get directors in roles that they don't seem. It's not their norm, basically.
Well, like Gatchaman he was the director of every Gatchaman, like OG Gatchaman seasons.
Let's see here. Gatchaman.
Because Gatchaman has a few planes, and I think there's a little bit of aerial combat.
Yeah, director of a lot of Gatchaman, Gordom, Go Opera 5 Gordom. A lot of things from the 70s.
Yeah, it's a lot of things with airplanes or airplane-like vehicles, which from time to time, I know in Gatchaman there are a few instances with aerial combat, so makes sense that he would make Area 88 and try to convince the animators and writers to focus on the dogfight. Because to make dogfights in Gatchaman, he would have to watch and study real dogfights. So he would have that knowledge. He just studied even more for.
I think I remember reading something like that about the production of Area 88. How it was either the director or the scriptwriter, in particular, researched a lot over. Certain types of planes and how they maneuver in the sky, and the details that would go along with it. I think I remember reading something like that because I was when I was watching it, I was interested why there was so much detail, why it was so good. Well, in the end, I don't really have much else to say over Area 88. It is a 3-episode OVA after all. Do you guys have anything to add?
The girlfriend was pointless.
Yeah, I don't really like her that much. Yeah, what was her name? Ryoko?
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like
I only know that because I'm looking at it here.
Yeah, I see her in front of me now. I think she served her purpose at the beginning, and maybe in parts of with whenever it would cut to Hanzaki, but I think that's all the purpose she needed to have. Anything after that just seemed kind of pointless.
Well, considering the fact that the closest thing we got there was like, oh, Kasa was trying to contact me, but I don't know that. No, around to fucking answer the phone or anything. And then it's like, finally she realizes, it's like, we need to track him down now. And then she's like, actually, no, I'm going back. And she's just like, no.
Yeah, I didn't like her either.
Good piece of story right there. Fantastic.
Hickey?
Yeah, I know. She served her purpose. I think Kanzaki should have, had his way with her.
Oh,
She would be a
jeez.
better. What? No, what?
Goblin Slayer, Goblin
she would
Slayer.
No, no, not that way. She would be a more interesting character.
Oh,
Like,
if she forgot about.
Well, then,
not
Hickey.
like she forgot about it. It's like, well, he's dead, and now there's this guy, and she, and him, they get together, and then you have penis and vagina. And then she realizes that
I'm glad you know how that works.
Yeah, it's very important. Well then, Hickey, let me recommend you to watch Ino Tori 2772, I no Cosmos Zone, if you want that.
Oh, that's some bad fan subs. Really bad.
No, I'm not talking about the fan sub. I'm talking about what the fuck happened.
Oh God.
Yeah, no, but I think she would be more interesting of a character if she was like my lover's dad, and all. Kanzaki already had those plans with marrying her, so he would get the company easily. But then he overtakes the fucking company and gets like in the command of the fucking company without her, without using her.
I mean, they did have that one scene
because of that.
They did have that one scene, but I was just like, no, you can't.
Well,
she's sacred.
Well, I believe I remember reading that either in the manga or the TV show, she actually does do that. She does end up with him, and something happens, and at the wedding, she ends up leaving or something.
Yeah, see,
Yusuko's.
That would be a way more interesting way of building her character, because if you remember when Kazama was right at the beginning, before he was betrayed by Kanzaki, the Yoko's father, which is the president of the company, goes to her and says it's about the time you get married. And there are two guys, two really cool guys, Kazama and Kanzaki. So like, I would like you to choose between them, because that's how things are in the 80s in Japan. Your father gives you the options and you choose from them. Since Kanzaki is dead because he decided to go to a foreign legion and fight against Arslan's terrorists, there's Kanzaki. So I thought the story would develop that way, but then Kanzaki did everything without using Ryoko, and she just stayed in the sidelines.
Well,
I don't know. I think
the OVA kind of painted him in this like horrible, schemy darkness, and I guess Ryoko saw it, and that's why she never went through it. I think that was what they were going for. Not saying it was done well, but
you know you're a bad man when you take your best friend to a bar and then you get him stupid drunken and you have him sign a goddamn.
Well, I'm saying in like Ryoko realizing how kind of scary.
I know.
The first time we met, that's gonna happen. We're going to a bar, we're gonna get drunk, and JD will wake up in the French Legion.
Jesus Christ. Somewhere. All right, mental note, don't go to Brazil.
Says you need to go to Brazil.
Oh no.
JD will wake up and one of his kidneys. What happened?
Eat those I need that kidney.
Hickey will just sit beside you. Very good night.
By the way, sign this affidavit. Oh god. Well, all right. I'm ready to score this sucker.
Sure.
So I did rewatch it. I enjoyed it just as much as I did the second time through. I did notice a lot more flaws the second time around, that's for sure. The dogfighting I enjoyed even more this time. And realizing how much of the show that entailed, and that's probably, like I said, it's the strongest point of the show, I think, is the dogfighting, and I do like the character Kazuma and his development. So I'm still gonna keep it at my 7 out of 10. Who's next?
All right, I can go next. Like I said, I really enjoy the dogfighting. It's cool. I have to give the score. It raises the score a lot for me in terms of just technical accomplishments for this series because it's a very well constructed show, but I don't like the story, which is kind of the problem. But I ended up I didn't rewatch this because I just didn't have it in. I didn't enjoy it that much the first time, and I just didn't see the point in going through it again. But I did end up giving it a 6 still after watching it.
Nice.
Because there were parts that I enjoyed, but like ultimately, it's one of those things where it's like the technical accomplishment, like stuff like animation, direction, and whatnot, is definitely what brings this score up more so than story and characters does for me.
Fair enough.
Yeah, well, I mean, I enjoy this story. The biggest problem, and the huge problem, it doesn't end.
Yeah,
and also it leaves you in a very bad spot. So it's one of that instances, just like Amanchu second season, as I said, where the ending contaminates the rest of it. So I cannot say the story is good because of the end. In Amanchu, there's their own problems. In this it's watching Area 88 were useless. You know, it was waste time because we don't know how to conclude. It just ends in a very bad spot. But the technical qualities with the animation and direction, color schemes, everything is very good. I think the selection of planes, aside from the bad guys, was like 50 Shades of Migs. They were quite good. Very interesting planes they chose. The F-8 Crusader is a very fun and very interesting plane. The F-20. There's even an A-10 Warhog there at some point. Very interesting. The missions are very interesting. The sound quality is bad, but the music. Yeah. So I would give it. I'm between a 6 or 7, but I'll give it a 7. So we get a 80 something score.
Yeah, it rounds up to a 7. So not bad.
Okay. Undeserved.
Undeserved. Come on, you weren't too far off, Tori.
But I'm mad about it.
You're mad about it. Oh.
Yeah.
No, we just need to wait and hope for a remake, a actual remake where they finish the story.
yes, because there was a TV show that came out in 2004, and it did even less than the OVA.
Yeah,
that's not very good. Yeah, I'd be definitely down for a modern remake of this where they actually do finish it and cover, the 23 volumes, for Christ's sake.
I'm good.
This has been the Red Leaf Retrocast Anime Edition. Worldwide Weebs have brought you yet another retro anime review. What's on the slate for the next episode? Let me pull that up.
Next time, we're gonna be talking about Gatchaman.
Oh, the same director.
Yep.
The same director. You guys did that on purpose.
No, I actually didn't know when I set this up.
Yeah. We thought we just throw stuff there, trying to.
I'm always nagging JD to fucking update this thing, which he never does. So me and Hickey just went to town on it.
That's fine. It's fine. I liked what you guys put there. So
next time it's Gatchaman.
That's gonna be a fun one for sure.
Crowds is bad.
No.
Well, if you've enjoyed the episode, definitely head on over to Stitcher or iTunes. Leave us a nice little review. We crave it. We need it. We have to have it. We need more. Get us out there. Follow the podcast for the live streams and any video games on the YouTube channel, Red Leaf Retrocast. Head on over to our social media. Tori's and Hickey's is posted in the description of every episode. And the Red Leaf Retrocast on Twitter and Instagram. But yep, this was episode 35. Damn, we've made it. Area 88. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Hooray!
An hour, my ass. 2 hours.
Hey, I said an hour and a half.
No, I know you did. JD said an hour.
We spend a lot of time in horror.
I know we did, but that's what I said. I told JD when we come in, like, now we don't need an outline. We're talking about maybe.
I thought we didn't spend too much time in horror. Actually, we spent a lot of time at the beginning talking about this season.
No, we spent 15 minutes in the intro.
Yeah.
No,
almost an hour. We did almost an hour on horror.
Yeah, we only spent 15 minutes on the intro. An hour on the horror. Like, I said this before we started. Jay's like, we don't need a fucking outline. We're gonna talk for like an hour, maybe max. I'm just like, you don't understand. When we work without an outline, we go on forever.
No, that's fine. 2 hours is fine. That's a good length.
It's fine.
It's a spiral of.
But this cannot be a fucking this cannot be a trend. We need outlines. If you're not gonna make them, then let us know. So.
Well, I mean, we knew it was the movie and the retro anime or the horror, so what it was.
Yeah, still.
Next time you decide to die randomly of flu, just warn us because
say something. Yeah.